Your attention, fans. Will Keith Souls, please report to the C&M Guest Services booth on the concourse. Thank you. All right, fans, get up on your feet, get loud, get those flags in the air for your New Mexico United! Fans, here's tonight's starting lineup for your New Mexico United. In goal, number 1, Alex.
Número 3, defensor, Chris.
A defender, number 4, Tony.
Listen up.
Número 12, defensor,
If you have
Talent.
not signed up, I need you to be over here.
A
to sign up for those
midfielder,
this time.
number 10, Marco.
Número 26, mediocampista, Abdirizak.
A midfielder, number 33, Harry.
Número 91, mediocampista,
So
Nanan.
the spikes can have their practice.
A forward, number 11, Mukwele.
Número 20, delantero, Jacobo.
And at forward, number...
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Albuquerque, New Mexico, home to the International Balloon Fiesta and the site of tonight's matchup between number 1 New Mexico United and number 12 Miami FC. Welcome to the lab. My name is Tyler Ortega, joined as always by Chris Hurst. And Chris, to put it frankly, this is a season that couldn't be trending in opposite directions for these clubs.
Yeah, and yet both teams coming off very different results as well. Miami coming into town after one of only 3 wins on the season. New Mexico United looking to bounce back after a disappointing 1-0 loss, both in the Bay Area.
Plenty to get into here this evening. Let's go ahead and jump into this matchup with a look at our players to watch, brought to you by Toyota. We're going to start off first For New Mexico United, it is the Needham, Massachusetts native, Harry Swartz. He's found the back of the net 3 times, all coming in within the last 4 weeks, Chris, in his 4th season in black and yellow.
Yeah, only 12 games played so far this season for Harry Swartz, and only 6 of those starts. Struggled a little bit with injuries, but when he has been playing, what a spark he's been, the energy, and he just lifts the entire team up.
And here on the other side, it's the 29-year-old Cuban, Frank Lopez. 7 goals this season in his first season with Miami, coming off a goal scored in his last match.
Yeah, 2 goals in 3 games. Familiar with New Mexico United, having played 60 games for Rio Grande Valley, and someone who New Mexico United will certainly have to account for, being a bright spark in a very disappointing season for those guys.
As we have a look here at our players to watch tonight, Harry Swartz and Frank Lopez. This one going to be a ton of fun here as New Mexico United not able to clinch a playoff spot, but Miami, anything other than a win, will officially eliminate them from playoff contention. The 2024 New Mexico United season is presented by Sandia Resort and Casino, close to home, far from ordinary. We'll step aside. We'll be back with lineups and kickoff.
We know it's hard to venture away from our beautiful land of enchantment, but when you need to, we are here for you. Now flying nonstop to 29 destinations across the nation. The Albuquerque International Sunport, the gateway of New Mexico.
It's celebrating New Mexico night here at the Lab as New Mexico United set to take on Miami FC. Tyler Ortega here alongside Chris Hurst. Tonight's match is brought to you by Manal School, World Smart Education. Chris, let's go ahead and have a look at our starting lineups here this evening, brought to you by the Somos Unidos Foundation. This is how Eric Quill is rolling out his side. Of course, you're going to see the Greek god of saves, Alex Tambakis, between the sticks here tonight. You're going to see the original back four that we've seen for the most part here tonight. Talon Maples, Tony Herbert reunited there as the center back pairing, Chris.
Yeah, and that's obviously been the preferred back four, I would say, for the coaching staff this season, and it's proved to be probably one of the most successful back lines for New Mexico, and great to see the main man, Greg Hurst, back up top as well.
The Scotsman will be looking to bag a goal here tonight for the first time since late May. This is how Antonio Nocerino is rolling out Miami tonight. You're going to see their leading scorer, Frank Lopez, up top alongside Lawrence and Gavilanes. And you'll see a back three here today with Knutson, Barbier, and Palacios, who's the one change from their winning lineup that beat Monterey Bay just last weekend.
Yeah, it looks like it's maybe just the one change. He's forced through injury. I assume. I mean, why change a winning team? And Miami, if you find the winning formula, I'm sure they wouldn't want to change that.
Kickoff here from the Lab. This is Palacios getting us started as New Mexico United tonight did not take care of business in Oakland last weekend, Chris, and thus they're unable to clinch a playoff spot here tonight. But obviously a win would go a very long way here for New Mexico, as they not only look to punch their ticket to the playoffs, but look to potentially bag a home playoff game for the first time in club history.
Yeah, and obviously that's something that's at the forefront of everyone's minds right now, right? Especially for New Mexico United, because it's obviously they've never been able to do it, and they've been so good at home this year. So being able to potentially host some games in the playoffs here, it would mean a lot to this club and a lot to the community.
Palacios heads this one away. It's New Mexico coming into this one. 8 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws at home. They've taken a total of 26 out of a possible 36 points, Chris. And that's been something that Eric Quill emphasized when he took over this club in June of last summer. This ball played into the box, was looking for Greg Hurst. Almost connected with Harry Swartz. Instead, it's Gloucester looking to play one back in. And it's ultimately dealt with there. That was Mitrano. So we get a look at Eric Quill. He's been in charge since June 13th of last season, took over mid-year. He's picked up 14 wins here at home, Chris, out of a possible 24 matches.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. I mean, you can say all the stats that you want as well, but the eye test, that's the one that the fans and the people who pay their money to come and watch the team, the eye test, that's what you can tell the difference, where it's different this year for New Mexico United.
So New Mexico, they like to score goals, especially here at home. Since Eric Quill took over, 42 goals scored here in friendly confines over 24 matches. It's New Mexico almost averaging 2 goals per game here at the Lab.
And this is a Miami team who obviously only 3 wins so far this season. All of those wins have come at home. Their last away win was October 7th last season. Charleston Battery 2-1. Almost, it's a month shy of a year, a calendar year since they tasted victory away from home.
Miami coming into this one, 10 wins, 1 draw away from Pitbull Stadium this season. Which, look, I love what we have here with the Lab, but Pitbull Stadium, come on, that's pretty cool. Down goes Swartz, and we're going to see a Fiesta Auto free kick here for New Mexico. That was Harry Swartz going down. Swartz making his 85th league appearance for New Mexico tonight. That's a look at Antonio Nocerino. This one could be a good opportunity here for New Mexico early on.
Yeah, no matter, if the game was played on paper, then obviously this is a mismatch tonight, but it's not, and set pieces at any level of the game are such a huge part of it. So New Mexico United, I'm sure they'll have something where the coaching staff have been working on.
It's going to be Akale playing the cross in, headed away by Cabral. Here's Reyes. Maples will go back to Hosu. As Hosu unleashes one, and that one sails into the supporter section. Greg Hurst leading the line here today for New Mexico, Chris. It's been 8 consecutive home matches since Greg Hurst has scored here at the Lab. Last time he scored here was May 25th. Gloucester looking to chase this one down. But that hasn't stopped Greg Hurst from finding the back of the net anyway, Chris. And not just in league play where he's New Mexico United's leading scorer, 9 goals to his name, but also beating some of the world's best. He scored an Open Cup goal against World Cup champion Hugo Lloris and LAFC just last month as well.
Let's face it, you just wanted to mention Lloris because of his Spurs connections. I mean, yeah, it's, call a spade there, right?
There's Nanan Hosu. He's a new addition to this club in the offseason. He was acquired from Loudoun United. And you can see why New Mexico went and got him, Chris. Coming into tonight, Hosu, 42 tackles as a midfielder. That is 14 more than the next best person.
I mean, he's an absolute Rolls Royce. Like that, I can't think of another way to describe it. It's just first couple of games didn't play due to the suspension.
That was sublime there from Micheletto. He thinks it should be a penalty. We'll take another look at this here in just a moment.
It was very close. It was very close to the edge of the box, but like you said, sublime. The little turn where he receives the ball on the half turn, just completely takes, I think that's Cabral, completely out of the game. And yeah, referee gets it right. Contact just outside the 18-yard box there.
Replays tonight brought to you by TLC Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Defend your home with TLC's service experts. And I feel like potential instant replay from the last time Miquele Akale set up for a free kick here.
It's going to be interesting though, because where the free kick is here, it lends itself more to a right footer, but you wouldn't bet against Miquele backing himself to try to pop this in the top corner here.
Akale, he has 2 free kick goals this season. 3 if you want to count U.S. Open Cup as well. Here's Akale. Instead, taps it. Hurst. That attempt blocked. Gloucester was looking to pick out Akale again, but no problem there for Ndie. Well, we've got a moment. I'd like to tell you about this 529 game update brought to you by the Education Plan. That's New Mexico's state-sponsored 529 plan. Give your kids a better and brighter future. Learn more at theeducationplan.com. Tony Herbert, last time he was on the field, August 14th against Tulsa. He was an unused sub last weekend in Oakland. And we see Kalen Ryden out with injury, Chris. No Will Seymour tonight. So New Mexico very glad to have Tony Herbert back.
Yeah, and it's that stage of the season where I'd very much doubt that anyone on the pitch right now or anyone on the bench is in inverted commas fully fit. It's all about management, So some of it will be squad rotation. You see Sergio Rivas and Nicky Hernandez and on the bench as well, and it's just so many minutes. So many minutes that these guys have had to put through their legs. So it's all about management and such a successful season. So thinking long term as well, not necessarily about the game and using the squad. So then you think about how can you maintain the levels on the pitch and in training as well,
This ball looking for Reyes. Reyes trying to sneak in there behind Palacios, but Ndie ultimately just comes out to claim it.
Looks like Miami setting up early on here very much to frustrate the home team and frustrate the home crowd as well. You said in the pre-game about a back 3. It's looking an awful lot like a back 5. It really is. The 2 wing backs, Matrino and Molina, are not venturing too far away from the centre back. So that back 5, you can see it's set up right now, is just it's locked in. So Greg Hurst has got 3 centre backs to deal with him. So New Mexico United are going to be looking for runners from deep and really pushing those wide defenders, Abdi Mohammed and Chris Gloucester from those wide defensive areas to try and create some overloads in the wide areas.
Maples was asking for it. Instead, goes to Gloucester. Heavy touch. Micheletto picks out his former Columbus Crew 2 teammate, Abdi Mohammed. Here's Reyes. Akale scored in Colorado Springs off an absolute gift from the Switchbacks. But that's one player that New Mexico would love to see get going in terms of goal scoring form.
Yeah, and you say a gift. Yes, to a certain extent. I think it was Mahoney.
Mahoney?
Mahoney, sorry,
yep.
Yeah, who played the ball. But Quelle read it. He read it all the way. He read what the defender, what Mahoney was going to do, and picked it off. So while it was a gift, Quelle had to be switched on and make sure he could read what was going on to be able to take advantage of that.
Hosu battling there in the midfield with Desart. Here's Mitrano. Gavilanes. He was dangerous against Monterey Bay, rattled the woodwork with an absolute rocket of a shot. As Gloucester goes in for the challenge, judged to be fair. New Mexico in possession.
It's moments like these, though, where you feel maybe, even so early on, we're only 11 minutes in, but you feel like those moments might be moments that New Mexico United, even though they're defending, that's really the one time where Miami FC are out of their defensive shape, where they've actually committed bodies forward. So New Mexico United, once they win it in transition, you feel like those moments are going to be really important tonight.
Swartz giving chase to this one. Instead, Knudsen able to deal with that. It's going to be a throw in here for New Mexico. There's Gloucester. 21st start of this season for Chris Gloucester here tonight. A lot of new faces for this New Mexico United side this season, Chris, and the way that they've been able to come together under Eric Quill, who is also in his first full season as the gaffer, it's been pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I was just going to say, talk about another addition. Like Chris Gloucester had to be patient, waiting for his first chance. Storger started the season. But once he got his chance, it was that little period where New Mexico United had that little wobble, lost a couple in a row, and Chris Gloucester wasn't playing. And also the balance he gives that back line, it sounds so simple, but having a left footer at left back just gives so much more balance. Whether that's in possession or attacking wise as well, just overlapping whoever happens to be ahead of him. It's made a huge difference to the team this year.
Foul called against the visitors. This is going to be a free kick for New Mexico. So we'll take another look here on this TLC replay. Jacobo Reyes just trying to work his way through two defenders, and Mitrano called for the infraction.
Talk about a player who's high on confidence right now. Reyes, he got his chance 3-4 games ago, and he really has taken it. Some impressive performances recently.
Reyes plays this ball in, and it's headed away. And you look at Jacobo Reyes. You hit the nail right on the head, Chris. He started the past 4 matches. Now make that 5 here tonight. Making his 13th start on the season. He too was one of the first additions by Eric Quill when he took over last summer. Reyes was added on July 14th, which is 1 month and 1 day after Eric Quill took over. Reyes was acquired on loan from Monterrey. Molina here for the throw-in. Looking to pick out Harry Swartz here. Harry Swartz. Just couldn't get it by Knudsen.
Yeah, you could see this, the run of Greg Hurst there. He was just trying to sneak in behind, and Swartz saw it, but just couldn't quite get it right. But that ball, that searching ball from Hosu, that little triangle at the back, Maples, Herbert and Hosu, just never more than 15 yards away from each other, it seems, and they just lock down the middle of the field, win the ball, and then Hosu spraying a ball out wide into a in stride Harry Swartz there, and took it in his stride and just didn't quite get the final ball right.
Gloucester finds Quelle. Generous bounce here for New Mexico. Nicoletto now finds Hosu, and he'll hit these. Hosu! And what a save there from Ndie.
Yeah, good save there by Ndie. Obviously pushed it away from danger as well, which is the main thing for him. He's a big guy, you know, and covered the ground well and took no chances. Instead of trying to catch the ball and secure it, pushed it away from danger. But you can see he just pops out to Hosu there, and he thinks, why not, with his weaker left foot. And he saw a little gap. But again, you can see New Mexico United, they're going to have to be patient in and around the 18-yard box. A deep defending Miami team, very compact. So it's going to be a test of patience, I feel, for New Mexico United.
This is going to bring us to our first Topo Chico Hard Seltzer corner kick. Hello, crisp, refreshing taste. Hello, Topo Chico Hard Seltzer. Marco Micheletto looks like he'll do the honors here. Former Columbus Crew 2-man. He's the captain during his time there. Very beloved by those fans as he plays this ball in, going back post. That ball ultimately cleared out, and the foul is going to be called here. Looks like Tony Herbert, the culprit, as we get a look at our Garcia Automotive Group keys to the game for New Mexico United. A 90-minute mentality, get the first big chance, and defend the lab. That is something that they have done fairly well this season. So we have a look at our Ben Sherman Law injury report. Christian Nava, Deon Harris, both out with season-ending ACL injuries. Looks like, until I think that was Palacios that was down. He looks to be all right. Both of these teams like to play out of the back, and so you'll see a lot of this build up here tonight.
Yeah, and you can see again that, I mean, there it was, you know, the ball gets pumped forward by Miami, and the back five, you know, two holders. Really, it's attack with three, and the rest of the guys just appear to be happy to stay inside their own half. So, you know, again, a little insight into what maybe is in store for the rest of the evening.
Hurst battling there with Knutson. It's Dezart. Foul going to go against Hosu. Look at conditions here this evening. Truth be told, it's a pretty beautiful evening here in Albuquerque.
If you can't play soccer in conditions like this, I think you need to find a different sport. And maybe a little different to Miami. You know, that 31% humidity feels pretty humid to us, but I'm sure they're loving it.
And that is one thing that we have yet to talk about in our 19 minutes. The altitude here in Albuquerque at the lab. We're sitting just under 1 mile high in elevation, and I don't have the number right offhand, but I'm sure Miami not that high up.
I think you're pretty safe in that assumption, yeah.
So that's something to keep an eye on here as this match wears on late in that second half. I'd start seeing some orange kits with hands on their knees. Here's Lawrence. Comes back to Lawrence, looking back post now for Mitrano. And headed away by Talon Maples.
It's a good recovery run by Maples there, because he got dragged into the midfield, and Herbert was isolated completely there, and the ball to the back post, I couldn't see who it was for Miami, but they were wide open at the back post there, and Maples had to track about 25-30 yards and got a really important header at the death there.
Corner kick coming up here for Miami. And if you're curious what's going on with the crowd right now, this is actually a tradition that takes place here every New Mexico United match. It's called the Magic Minute. It starts at the 19-minute, 12-second mark, and that's to celebrate when New Mexico was officially recognized as a state, and they'll stop at the 20-minute, 18-second mark, and that's to celebrate when New Mexico United were founded as a club. As the corner goes in, headed away, rebound falls to Molina, who has his shot sent back. I'm sure we've got some first-time viewers hanging out with us here, and I'd like to welcome you in. It is a gorgeous night here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Tyler Ortega, Chris Hurst on hand. It's our first time on the CBS Sports Golazo Network. We're excited for you to be joining us. New Mexico coming into this one, 48 points on the season, Chris. That's good enough to see them being sat first in the Western Conference for the better part of, I think, about 2 months now. It's their longest run atop the table, with Sacramento Republic lurking in second place.
Yeah, lurking, but New Mexico United, even they've had the wobble where when Lou City was in town, things like that, but they've kept everyone at arm's length. So they've built this little cushion that they have.
This free kick goes back post, and Palacios almost had a chance.
Yeah, it was a dangerous chance there. There was a big corridor for them to hit the ball there, and Palacios nearly got on the end of it. But yeah, New Mexico United, they've earned the right to the little blips, you could call it, like that they hope the game against Oakland Roots this past weekend is what they are, and no one from the Western Conference has been able to take advantage when New Mexico United have slipped up. That's been the key, I think. There's really not been anyone who's really tore it up. I'm just looking at some of the things like Orange County, Monterey Bay in a huge slump right now.
Here's Lopez, plays this forward. Tambakis has to come out and grab that as Lawrence was charging.
There's a couple of times there New Mexico United being a little lapse in possession in midfield, and Tambakis just getting everyone refocused there, I feel. But yeah, Orange County, Monterey Bay, Orange County, you always expect them to be near the top of the Western Conference. They haven't won a game since July 20th. And Monterey Bay, who Miami played this past weekend and won, they haven't won since July 6th. So an August to forget for both of those two teams who were in and around the playoff picture just a few weeks ago.
Nicoletto tried a little give and go there with Quelle. And Desart just sends this one away.
It's just so tight in the middle of the park right now. I really feel, again, it's almost Miami are tricking New Mexico United into playing down the middle of the field, which is exactly where they want to be. They've got so many bodies in there, and they're so compact, and their defensive discipline is really, really good right now. New Mexico United have to try and force the ball out wide. Can they get Abdi Mohammed? A lot of the ball has been on that left-hand side. Here's Mohammed now on the ball. And can they get numbers where it's not one-on-one? Can they get 2v1s on these wide areas and try and create something there where there's a little bit more green grass, a few less bodies?
So we get a score update there, top left corner. Louisville and Loudoun scoreless at the break. We'll keep an eye on that one. That's over on ESPN+. But New Mexico, there's some big matches coming up ahead for the black and yellow, Chris. Two in particular. They've still got their two matches left this season with Sacramento Republic. First one is September 18th. That's going to be here. Then a week later, they're going to be at Heart Health Park. But in between those two matches, they've got Loudoun here at home. And as we're seeing here, Loudoun tied with Louisville, who, for all intents and purposes, look like they're going to win the Players' Shield this season. Loudoun showing they're not just a blow away the heat team like they've been in years past.
Yeah, and Loudoun, fighting for their lives just above the playoff line right now, sitting in 8th place, just ahead of Pittsburgh Riverhounds, 3 points in it. So, in and around that 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th in both conferences, every single point, every single win matters. And yeah, Loudoun being able to keep the league's top scorers quiet so far.
Reyes is held up. As the training staff will be called on here for New Mexico, and Reyes looks like might have a bloody nose down there.
He's hinting that maybe there was an elbow. I think it was more of an accidental kind of coming together there, but he definitely got caught in the face, and you can see the way he's holding it, and the referee has to stop it if there's blood, and he's going to have to go off the field. And potentially change his shirt. But yeah, it's something maybe happens a lot in the game, you know, when you're jostling for position, players trying to get their arms up to protect their space and create some space, and it inevitably happens.
That is the New Mexico United Director of Sports Medicine, Carlos Olivas, administering some treatment. And so while we've got a moment, I'd like to tell you that the USL Championship Soccer continues on the ESPN networks in September with a matchup of teams from the Eastern Conference. It's Detroit City FC taking on Players Shield leader Louisville City FC in a Saturday afternoon clash on September 22nd. You can catch that game 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Mountain Time on ESPN2. And we've seen, Chris, we've been fortunate enough to have a front row seat here to this league for the better part of the last 5-6 years, and the continued growth of the USL. You've seen now it expanding on the women's side of the game. We're seeing some of these matches now where we're at right now on CBS Sports Golazo Network. We're seeing matches on CBS Sports Network. We're seeing matches on ESPN family of networks. Just incredible to see what this league has done in such a short period of time. Yeah,
and we're seeing players getting picked off from the league to European leagues as well, which is a testament to the level of the player now being brought through the teams here in the USL Championship.
Desart goes back to Knutson. Here's Palacios. Barbier, the former Oakland Roots man. Be a throw in here for New Mexico. So this is just the third all-time meeting between these two clubs. First time they did battle was right here at the Lab. That was August 6th, 2022. Palacios is going to see this one out. It was Miami victorious that time. It was Kyle Murphy scoring a brace. 1 goal on either side of the half, and then the insurance goal tacked on by former New Mexico United man Romeo Parks. It ended 3-0. So we take another look here. That's Swartz.
That's Palacios again. That's the same player involved with Reyes before, and I'm not going to say it's an elbow. That's a forearm to the face. You can see what he was trying to do, just shield the ball out. He's a big guy, and going against Harry Swartz, who's obviously a little bit shorter, and now Harry Swartz has the cotton swabs up his nose. That's 2 bloody noses in the last 3 minutes, both courtesy of Palacios.
Well, good thing Carlos Olivas had his equipment out already. So yeah, we get another look there on that TLC replay.
Yeah, there was no attempt to play the ball there. It's, Palacios, I'm sure he's on the referee's radar now.
Now Palacios, he's going to hear it for the rest of the evening here from the 9,000 plus in attendance.
I mean, that did happen right in front of the supporter section, and if he's not on the referee's radar, he is certainly on the cursor's radar.
So look at Greg Hurst, the Scotsman. His 9 goals this season. It's actually the second most goals that he's scored in a single season in his career. If you look back just 3 seasons ago when he played in League One with Union Omaha, he scored 14 goals that season. As Hurst now is going to see yellow.
I'm certainly not saying that this is the case, but I don't think there's any coincidence that that's Palacios who's down in a heap, and Greg Hurst was maybe just a little tired of his flailing arms against his teammates, let's say. I'll just leave it at that.
Fair enough. Greg Hurst picks up our first yellow card here this evening, brought to you by Will Ferguson and Associates. When you've been fouled, call Ferguson Law Firm, New Mexico's leading personal injury attorneys for over 40 years. Junior Palacios, the 28-year-old Colombian, spent last season with Union Omaha. Desart, the Brazilian. Quelle now. New Mexico have numbers. Swartz was looking for the cross. Instead, it'll be another corner kick here for New Mexico.
just about to say it's been too comfortable for Miami getting out. They've done a really good job. The back three and Desart, as you said, really comfortable in possession. That was the first time. The little trigger, it was Hosu, and then Quelle just nicked the ball off him and able to play forwards quickly and just catch Miami on their heels a little bit.
Micheletto stands over this one. It's no doubt going to be looking for Tony Herbert in there. Tall center back for New Mexico. Abdi Mohammed, we've actually seen him score off a corner already this season. That's Mohammed having a word with the official.
Barbier and Herbert having a little wrestling match in there as well.
Micheletto gets it right back from Reyes. Here's Akale. Akale just can't shake loose from Frank Lopez, and well done defensively there from Lopez. Just overhits the through ball there, looking for Lawrence. Here's Hosu. This ball's going to go back to Tony Herbert. Just looking to switch the angle of the attack here. Reyes. Toronto almost turns it over. Lopez now was looking to catch Tambakis off his line.
He was. Tambakis was off his line. It was wildly off target there. I mean, you know, good 5, 6, 10 yards wide. But the discipline right now, and you can't quite see it in shot there, but the discipline, the back five, Metrano and Molina are playing. It's essentially just like outside backs and just 3 centre backs. It's just a straight up back five. It's not a back three with wing backs. It's really not. It's just a back five. And New Mexico United really struggling to find answers to the questions right now. Here's a chance with a 2v1 if New Mexico United are quick though.
Mohammed looking for Hurst. And the flying Scotsman unable to make a connection there.
It was a decent early delivery. We haven't said Mohammed's name very often so far tonight. He's not necessarily got forward as much maybe as Chris Gloucester has, but an early delivery, and you can just see Hurst just gets in front of Knutson there, but just can't quite make the connection.
I know Miami FC are in orange tonight, but Greg Hurst almost had some shades of the diving header from Robin van Persie from the Netherlands. Down goes Cabral. Foul called on Hosu. Hosu's got to be careful now. He's been whistled for a couple of fouls now, and the official Gerald Flores just letting him know he's got an eye on him. Great touch there from Cabral. Molina able to get this forward. Back for Cabral now. Looking back post. Metrano. Now he looks a little bit more like a wing back out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Metrano earlier on when I said Maples made that diving header at the back post. It was actually Metrano who'd ventured forward, but those forays forward are very few and far between. There's Palacios again, very, very physical at centre-back tonight. Maybe that's why he was added. Maybe it wasn't an injury, just, in there to be the tank in the middle of the back three, but he's definitely letting people feel his presence tonight.
Palacios, he's on a 25-day contract with the team. This is actually his second stint with Miami FC. He actually was with them in 2021 and 2022. So on a 25-day, you can see why he is giving it all he's got with every play. Here's Swartz able to connect with Akale. Looking now for Gloucester. He's got space. Back for Gloucester. Kale, and that pass poked away, but falls to Reyes.
Tell you what, that shot was travelling. It only went about 5 yards before the block, but Reyes really caught that. But again, really impressed with Miami's defensive shape, making it so hard, and it's pot shots like that, the one that we just saw from Reyes there, that and you can see New Mexico United maybe starting to get a little frustrated.
And you got to feel like that yellow card was on its way. Nanan Hosu goes into the book for repeated offenses. And you saw Gerald Flores, the official, pointed at all the different spots, flashed him the yellow card.
Yeah, but going back to Miami, if you look at the stat sheet, as we always do coming into a game, you'd expect...
Here's Hurst. Over to Swartz. Back for Akale. And Hosu took that off of Akale's feet, and Miquele Akale not happy about it.
That's not a great reaction, I'd say. Obviously in transition there, that the most important thing is to try and win the ball back and then maybe have a discussion about it. But definitely, I think Quelle was about to take a shot, and Hosu came from nowhere, got in each other's way. But just going back again, again, impressed with the defensive display so far from Miami. I don't think you need to be a rocket scientist to work out that they've hemorrhaged goals this year. 62 conceded. The next worst defense in the league is 42, so 20 more than the next, which is Orange County of all people. But Daniel Gagliardi, 12 appearances, 26 goals conceded on the bench tonight. Rodriguez, 8 appearances, 24 goals in 8 appearances conceded.
Wow.
And keeper tonight, and he's conceded 12 goals in 7 appearances. They just haven't been able, and that's just the goalkeepers, and it's not always on the goalkeepers, but that's where you look when it comes to, goals conceded, and they just haven't been able to find the recipe to keep things tight. But clean sheet against Monterey Bay, and tonight they've looked really difficult to break down so far.
Might be onto something here. Torino, as this ball looking for Hurst. He's able to save it, but turns it over in the process. This is a Miami FC club coming off missing the postseason last year by just 1 point. They finished in 9th in the East. They had 11 wins as a club last year. They were -1 in goal differential. Stark contrast to the -37 that they are this year. Here's Reyes, couple step overs. Great defending there from Mitrano. Reyes making his 13th start of the season here tonight. 18th appearance overall. So we're 40 minutes into this one. Tony Herbert plays a cross into the box, headed away. Akale now looking for Swartz, and Kadeem Ndiaye says, I'll take that. Here's Gloucester, back to Micheletto. New Mexico looking very comfortable in possession here. Kale trying to flick on. Here's Lopez. Lawrence now. What a defensive effort as Hosu sees that ball just go over the line.
Great defending there by Herbert. You could see almost a little holding of the breath in the stadium there, where he was tempted to maybe go to ground and try and win a big crunching tackle, stays on his feet, forces the Miami tactic to try and beat him, and just nicks it away. And then Hosu just can't quite keep it in. But yeah, really good defending by Herbert.
Looking for Mitrano here. That ball will sail out for a New Mexico goal kick, and that's going to give us time to tell you to tune in to the CBS Sports Network in September for a USL Championship Eastern Conference clash. Strong playoff contender Tampa Bay Rowdies travel north to face a Birmingham Legion of Seaside, battling to keep above the playoff line. That's Wednesday, September 11th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain Time on the CBS Sports Network. Turnover there from Micheletto. Just momentarily. Nakale is sinking deep to the midfield to get some touches as Swartz tried the dummy. Cabral was all over it. Gavilanes draws the foul. Palacios still hearing it from the home fans here.
You see, I mean, getting close to half-time, you see a couple of the Miami players are starting to feel the pace of the game, slowing it down every opportunity. You know, still another 45 minutes to go and already trying to kill the game, and getting the crowd frustrated and getting the crowd a little antsy, and that will inevitably leak onto the pitch as well.
Here's Maples. Maples has logged the most time played this season by an outfield player. Maples thread the needle with that pass there. Here's Akale. Akale making his 20th appearance on the season.
That defensive shape for Miami, 9 players within the width of the 18-yard box. So hard, like you say, threading the eye of a needle to try and get a pass into anyone's feet for New Mexico United. It's just so hard to do. And again, is it going to have to be a tweak at halftime by the coaching staff? Maybe have someone up top with Greg Hurst.
The run from Gloucester. Here's Hurst, parried away, falls to Reyes, and he smashes it home. Jacobo Reyes opens up the scoring here in the 45th minute. And for Reyes, that's his 4th goal of the season.
You see Greg Hurst finally finds a bit of space and a bit of time in the 18-yard box. Hits a shot low and hard across there. And he just doesn't get enough purchase when he tries to pat the ball away. Puts it back into a dangerous area. Reyes, a man on form right now. In the right place at the right time. Buries the rebound.
And you see now why Jacobo Reyes is making his 5th consecutive start here. It all starts with this run there from Gloucester, who's able to pick out Hurst. And then, as you described, just the parry from Ndiaye. They don't get much easier than that if you're Jacobo Reyes.
And I don't think it's any coincidence that it's come right at the end of the half. Miami were starting to look a little tired. We were seeing players maybe just starting to feel the effects of the altitude and the pace of the game and how much time they're spending without the ball. And there was just a little lapse in concentration. You can see they thought the keeper was going to take care of it, didn't react to the rebound, and Reyes was there to pop it in.
That goal brought to you by Enterprise Builders, built on a foundation of trust for over 30 years. We are now officially into 3 minutes of New Mexico Pinon Coffee stoppage time. Great coffee since '94.
So, two contrasting views here. An absolute disaster of a time to concede for Miami, and what a great time to score for New Mexico United.
Here's Akale looking for Swartz.
In Miami, you can see just, again, struggling a little bit, I think, and they want to make sure they get in at halftime here with the score just 1-0. New Mexico United looking to maybe put this game to bed before halftime, even though there's only a few minutes left.
And I'll be Captain Obvious here. This is going to force Miami to come out of this defensive shell, and this is going to be game on here.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do, whether they do come out of the defensive shell or maybe they just try and keep it close for as long as possible and then maybe have a late push to try and get an equaliser. They've certainly set the stall out early on in this game to try and keep it to 0. Now that plan has failed, essentially, it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments the coach and staff make.
Akale able to get it to Hurst, turns and fires, and what a save from Ndie as New Mexico hunting for a second.
I just said New Mexico United smell blood right now. They want to try and get the second before halftime, trying to get the second goal in as many minutes. And what a save, because Greg Hurst, again, another man on fire right now, doesn't even need a touch. It just sits up perfectly, spins and unleashes. How much power he gets in that. Great reaction save.
That was tremendous, but we got to talk about that ball that was played by Makwele Akale to get it to him. This one falls to Hosu. Step over. Hosu, as he goes down. Gerald Flores waves his arms. No penalty. Miami now looking to counter. Time for one more attack before half. New Mexico, they think the same. Here comes Swartz now. A player to watch tonight, Harry Swartz. Making just his 7th start of the season. And that is the first 45 in the books. And it ends exactly how you'd want it to if you're a New Mexico United fan. 45th minute goal from Jacobo Reyes.
Yeah, I mean, New Mexico United have had to be patient. Miami, unbelievably defensively in terms of their discipline. But New Mexico United managed to sneak one in right towards the end of the first half there. And it's going to be interesting to see how Miami come out in the second half, whether they're a little more adventurous.
1-0 in favor of the black and yellow. Your halftime score brought to you by First Financial Credit Union. We'll step aside. We'll be back with some halftime.
I was born in Farmington, New Mexico, and learned to fish here on the San Juan. Watching the seasons, the bugs, and the trout. Lunker Alley, Simone Canyon, Lower Flats, and Texas Hold'em. This place is world famous, and for good reason.
We know it's hard to venture away from our beautiful land of enchantment, but when you need to, we are here for you. Now flying nonstop to 29 destinations across the nation. The Albuquerque International Sunport, the gateway of New Mexico.
Are you a caregiver of a friend or family member that could use some support? We're here for you. Introducing New Mexicare, a program dedicated to caring for our families. We offer significant financial assistance and comprehensive training to empower both caregivers and older adults to flourish in the comfort of home. To see if you're eligible to enroll in the program, visit newmexicare.org. That's newmexicare.org.
Win on three, 1, 2, 3, I tell the guy and he told me keep moving. I'm at the show and they tell me keep grooving. If it ain't me, tell me who else gon' do it. I'ma just do it, I'ma just do it. I'm at the top of my city, I'm tooling. Bitch said that I be the hottest improving. Every day I see the fruits of improvement. I'ma just do it, I'ma just do it.
Welcome back to the lab here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Tyler Ortega alongside Chris Hurst as New Mexico lead Miami by a score of 1-0 here at the half. Your halftime score brought to you by First Financial Credit Union. Plenty to get into here over this break as we get a beautiful shot of that sunset out off to the west. Let's go ahead and have a look at our schedule here as we've got plenty of action coming up this weekend. Louisville City and Loudoun, they were tied scoreless at the half. There's another one taking place tonight on ESPN2. Make sure to check that out after we wrap up, as Phoenix Rising will be facing FC Tulsa. And a ton of matches going on tomorrow. Pittsburgh, Rhode Island, Hartford, Indy 11. A big match that we'll be watching here in New Mexico between Charleston Battery, who are second in the East, taking on Sac Republic, second in the West.
Yeah, that's a huge matchup with implications in both conferences. So I'm sure there'll be many viewers from New Mexico keeping an eye on that one.
Elsewhere here around the league, you've got North Carolina taking on Oakland, and we've got more games here to show you. Switchbacks hosting Tampa Bay Rowdies, that too tomorrow night. All of these games taking place tomorrow night. El Paso doing some interconference battle with Detroit, and then Monterey Bay will be taking on San Antonio FC. As we have a look here at the standings, and New Mexico United, ticket not quite punched yet to the playoffs. They can do that with a win tonight and then again next week, but looking to hold off Sac Republic there in that number 2 spot.
Yeah, built that little cushion deservedly throughout the season, been pretty consistent, but look at that line, 8th, 9th, 10th, Orange County, Monterey Bay, not having a good time of it right now and just need to turn it around to try and stay in touch, keep themselves in contention, trying to track down FC Tulsa there.
You also see how jumbled up it is there between 2 and 6, 3 points separating Las Vegas Lights and Sacramento Republic. Who would have thought we would have been saying that a year ago from today, as we've seen a resurgence out there in Las Vegas with Joey Batista taking over the Las Vegas Lights FC. As we have a look now at our Eastern Conference standings, Louisville City FC, they are in the driver's seat when it comes to the Players' Shield. There you see Charleston Battery in second, some of the usual suspects in Tampa Bay. Detroit City LaRouge climbing back up into fourth, as they'll be looking to be hosting a playoff game at Keyworth come the fall.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit, Loudoun against Lou City ongoing right now. I believe it's Lou City took the 1-0 lead. So Loudoun, obviously a big turnaround from last year as well, and proving that they're no pushovers against the league leaders right now.
Time now for our news and notes as we take a look here around the league. Nick Marcanic is going to be moving on to Second Division Spain. He's going to CD Castellón following the conclusion of this season with Charleston. He is looking to break some records here in the USL Championship. Speaking of the USL Championship, 30 players from the championship in League One out on international duty this week, representing 21 countries, Chris. And we talked about the growth of this league, and that just further speaks to it.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's the players that are being developed in the USL Championship and moving on to, like I say, European decent leagues as well. It's testament to the job being done here as well. And that last one about Las Vegas Lights, I think Miami fans tuning in will be looking at this season, and Las Vegas had a very similar season last year as well. And let's face it, they are tearing it up this year. What a turnaround it has been out in Las Vegas. So hope for the future for Miami in a miserable season, unfortunately.
A look now at our team of the week before we get out of here. There you see Corey Bennett. He's your player of the week. James Chambers from Switchbacks, your coach of the week. As we look around, you see Nicholas Cardona. He's not in the lineup for Miami tonight, but he is acknowledged in the Week 26 Team of the Week. He was actually the one change from that 1-0 victory against Monterey Bay last weekend. Of course, you see Rocco Rios Nopo getting the nod at goalkeeper. As we'll step aside here from the lab, it's New Mexico leading Miami 1-0.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
This is the beginning. This is a first practice, a first video session, a first pregame talk. This is a first ticket, a first scarf raise, a first kickoff. This is a tapestry of clubs and players and communities inspired by those who blazed the trail for women's sports, ready to inspire the next generation. We are the USL Super League. We're part of a movement, and this is our moment.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Beautifully done, Pino! My goodness! 2-0 for Birmingham. Worth takes it. Oh, and it's in! Nate Worth with a moment of brilliance.
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Welcome back here to the lab. It is Celebración de Nuevo Mexico night as the fans celebrating New Mexico United as well as the home side on top of Miami FC 1-0. Welcome to the lab. My name's Tyler Ortega, Chris Hurst, as we are here with some halftime between these two. Let's go ahead and take a look at our first half highlights, see how we've got to this point here. Starting off first, this attempt from New Mexico, Chris.
Yeah, good early ball in, and you can just see there was a lot of chances like that for New Mexico United where they were are they half chances? They're just the frustration setting in. So Hosu taking a pot shot from pretty far out and not really troubling the keeper there, and that's honestly about as close as Miami got as well. We were talking in the break there that the shot from Lopez from about 45, 50 yards out was maybe a little closer, but Tambakis really untroubled as well. That was an early delivery by Abdi Mohammed where Greg Hurst just couldn't quite get him behind, but it's Hurst where he gets that little ball by Gloucester. Hurst gets the shot on target. They just can't deal with it, just can't keep a hold of the ball, pushes it back out into the top of the 6-yard box, and by then Miami's legs were just a little heavy. You can see they just couldn't quite react. And I tell you, Reyes, again, he's a man who's on form right now, and he's in the right place at the right time to pop in the rebound.
Yeah, Cobo Reyes, he has now scored in back-to-back home matches. Actually, check that, 3 straight home matches. Jacobo Reyes has found the back of the net. As we have a look here at our first half stats brought to you by Duke City Cares, your medical family. And Chris, this is pretty much what we expected to see, certainly when it comes to the possession numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually surprised it's not a little higher, if I'm being completely honest. And again, Miami set the stall out, and I'm not, saying anything bad about it. They have to do what they have to do. And for 44 minutes, it worked really, really well. Really frustrated New Mexico United. So compact, back five, midfield really disciplined. And it was just really, really hard to see a way through for New Mexico United. And it was maybe a little bit of a mistake that gifted them a little bit of tired legs. But again, second half, it's going to be interesting to see how this changes, whether they continue to set the stall out to frustrate and then maybe have a late surge, or are they going to go for it and potentially leave themselves open and New Mexico United get a few more chances?
We'll go ahead and step aside. We'll have the second half coming up when we return.
We know it's hard to venture away from our beautiful land of enchantment, but when you need to, we are here for you. Now flying nonstop to 29 destinations across the nation. The Albuquerque International Sunport, the gateway of New Mexico.
This dance was born here. It became the legacy of my family. 6 hoops, many forms. Eagle, butterfly, water serpent, Mother Earth. When I dance, it brings me home.
Welcome back here to the lab as the second half coming up here momentarily between New Mexico United and Miami FC. Tyler Ortega here alongside Chris Hurst is the home side up 1-0, and it's Jacobo Reyes. There you see him on your screen finding the back of the net. 45th minute for the black and yellow. His third consecutive home match with a goal. And that usually bodes well for New Mexico, Chris. When they come out of the halftime break, they are actually perfect this season when they've got the lead at halftime. A record of 8 wins, no draws, no losses, as Eric Quill and his side will look to keep that going here this evening.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the end of the half that New Mexico United were looking for, and the exact opposite for Miami FC. They've done so well to keep New Mexico United at arm's length, and we talked in the last segment about how the chances New Mexico United were creating and having to take were, I don't want to say desperate, but they weren't clear-cut chances. Really, the goal was the first clear-cut chance, and then following that, there was probably 2 more as well. That New Mexico United really did smell blood, so it's going to be interesting to see if there's any changes. I would love to see someone a little closer to Greg Hurst. The 3 centre-backs have been a little too comfortable, and you even mentioned about Quelle was dropping really, really deep to try and find the ball, so someone a little closer to Greg Hurst to occupy another one of those centre-backs would help New Mexico United. And for Miami, I think they're going to have to take a chance at some point. If they want to get back in this game, they've had a couple of, they're not even half chances, but moments where they've worried New Mexico United on the counter-attack, but they've just not quite had the quality to make anything of it.
Uncharacteristic giveaway there from Abdi Mohammed. Now, Miami with a dangerous opportunity. Gavilanes, he can let those fly. As I mentioned earlier, he hit the woodwork against Monterey Bay from that same distance with an absolute rocket that got by Siaha. And Gavilanes again, and this time it's going to be Micheletto. Whistled for the foul, and Micheletto's going in the book.
Yeah, that was a bit of a needless foul there by Micheletto, I would say. I think it's Lopez is begging for more than the yellow card. I certainly don't think it's more than that. It's a nasty one. He gets him right on the back of the Achilles. That'll be a sore one. But Miami may be showing a little signs here at the start of the second half. They had 4 players in the attack, which I don't think that, that happened maybe once in the first half. So maybe showing that they're willing to throw a couple of extra bodies forward early on in the second half and see if that's maintained.
And now for New Mexico, this sets up an interesting problem here. Is now you've got Micheletto and Hosu both on yellow cards. That's 2 of your 3 midfielders.
Yeah, and it's been a bit of a chippy game as well. There was the Palacios, the flailing arms in the first half, and Greg Hurst obviously got a yellow card as well because he essentially just left one on Palacios as well right after he'd taken out Reyes and I can't remember who the first one was with the bloody nose, but
Reyes.
Reyes
and Swartz.
Swartz, sorry, that's right. So yeah, it's not a game where I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't finish 11v11.
That shot attempt there off the free kick from Remy Cabral was blocked by the wall. Throw in here for New Mexico. Here's Hosu. Looking for Greg Hurst was Jacobo Reyes. Miami now looking to spring forward.
By the way, there, Lopez, great close control to get out of it. I think he had 3 guys on him there from New Mexico United and managed to spin out of it and connect the pass as well. Really quick feet.
Knudsen. Here's Molina. He'll switch the play. All the way over to Mitrano now. Here's Lopez. 7 goals on the season for Lopez. Scored off a corner. Hurst judged to have been fouled by Lopez. Now the official just having a word with Lopez, and there you can see Micheletto pleading his case.
Lopez got both of them. Hurst as well, already on a yellow card from the first half as well, and he got a little aggravated about something and he just left his toe in there, and Lopez took exception to it as well. Micheletto just having a word. I don't think there's been a single yellow card for Miami, and they've certainly done their fair share of the instigating, let's say.
We've got a score update there for you. Louisville on top of Loudoun, 1-0 in the second half. Getting late in the second half there now. 77 minutes gone by. It was McFadden scoring for Louisville. Here's Gloucester. Able to connect with Swartz. Still Harry Swartz. Hosu now. Hosu. Here's Gloucester. Hosu was looking for the run of Reyes and looked to have just played it behind him. Lawrence goes down, and Maples called for the foul. So Fiesta Auto free kick coming up here for Miami. Knutson.
So I think you can see start of the second half here. We talked in the first half. Petrino, Molina, their starting positions in possession are about 30 yards higher up the field than what they were in the second half. They really didn't venture too far away from the outside centre-backs in the first half. Definitely a little tweak in the second half, maybe trying to push New Mexico United's outside backs back a little bit, because Abdi Mohammed and Chris Gloucester pretty much had the freedom of Isotopes Park on either side of the pitch there, because they were so compact and so tight to their centre-backs.
This ball chipped forward looking for Hosu and just ran out of real estate there. Reyes unable to connect. While we've got a moment, let us tell you about Select. They are the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. You can visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select the player's choice in New Mexico on top of one. Here's Hurst, and his shot is saved as Kadim Ndie has been busy here tonight.
That's something that Miami do not need to do, is be careless in possession there and just give the ball away, and very unselfish of Reyes there trying to set up. I just thought Reyes could have maybe took the shot himself, and I think maybe Greg Hurst was a little surprised he got the pass as well and snatched at the shot a little bit.
Just when you think it's clear for a read. Quick turnover there. Micheletto stands over this Topo Chico hard seltzer corner kick. Dealt with, but he'll get the opportunity to retake. Here's Micheletto again. Marco Micheletto, 4 assists this season. That is the most for New Mexico United. So the leader when it comes to chances created. Micheletto. There's Ndie. Some contact with Hurst. Referee not interested. Molina plays this forward. Lopez now. Cross goes in, and it's cut out by Hosu.
Ndie, I mean, that was the most unnecessary shoulder barge I've ever seen in my life, and I think he's lucky the referee didn't see it, because again, there's no need. So maybe Hurst is getting under people's skin a little bit. Let's say Palacios, him and Palacios have been having a really good battle, and Lopez got into it a few moments ago as well, so there might be something there, just bubbling under the surface.
Things starting to feel the emotions of this game, starting to rise a little bit with these two. It's been an intense battle here this evening.
Yeah, it feels like there's an edge to the game. Like, considering these teams don't play each other very often, it feels like it's almost a rivalry game. Like some of the extracurriculars, let's call them. It's been one of those kind of games again. New Mexico United, the only ones getting yellow cards so far, but there's been some chippiness.
It's just the third meeting all time between these two clubs. New Mexico, they were victorious in the previous one out at Pitbull Stadium. It was Justin Portillo converting from the penalty spot 85 minutes in, as Micheletto now has that ball poked away. But if you remember that match, Chris, last time these two teams tangoed, it was actually the season opener for New Mexico United last year. What was actually week 2 for the rest of the championship?
I do remember the schedule was it wasn't kind to New Mexico United last year. I think there was 2 buys in the first 3 weeks, if I remember correctly. So it felt like New Mexico United were playing catch-up for the entire season. Definitely a different vibe this year.
New Mexico with another corner kick here. It's Micheletto. That was a great corner, as Abdi Mohammed was not that far off of making contact either. I think it was Maples that might have got the contact. Just sent it wide. And so we are going to see a couple of subs here for New Mexico. We've got Zico Bailey and Sergio Rivas coming on. We're going to see the two midfielders with yellow cards, Marco Micheletto and Nanan Hosu, headed off.
This is going to sound like a compliment, Tyler, but it's not. Just want to preface it with that, but it's almost like you sound like you know what you're talking about. You mentioned it, what would happen with the two centre mids on yellow cards, and I said as well that I'd be surprised if this game finished 11v11 because it was that kind of game. There was going to be some kind of flashpoint. Again, was just bubbling under the surface. It was just simmering there, and Coach Quill and the staff have decided to not risk it.
Zico Bailey, the Philippine international, back from suspension here tonight. And Sergio Rivas, the local Albuquerque product, went to Cibola High School out on the west side of Albuquerque. You talk about two players that have played a pretty big role this season for the black and yellow. Look no further than Zico Bailey and Sergio Rivas. Is Bailey making his 22nd appearance here this evening, and he has been massive in the midfield for Eric Quill.
He really has, but he's another one who's had his discipline issues, let's say. I mean, already got 8 yellow cards this year. I think Micheletto just picked up his 8th as well. I believe that was his 8th of the season as well. So two players, obviously, I wouldn't say combative, but they don't shirk away from the physical side of the game.
And Greg Hurst is called for a foul off the ball as Palacios goes down. Hurst trying to plead his case here. And Hurst in disbelief when the foul was called against him.
Yeah, I mean, going to have to see that one back because the ball was well gone. I mean, the Miami players are they're desperately trying to get him a second yellow card as well. I would not be surprised if that's the next change as well, because again, mentioned it, a lot of the players are taking a little side, creating a little separation for himself, I'd say there. And Palacios went down. The Olympics were a couple of weeks ago, but
Fiesta Auto free kick here for New Mexico, and now we're going to see Antonio Notarino go to his bench here for the first time, as we're going to see Manuel Bota entering. He's going to replace Michael Lawrence. All of these substitutions brought to you by the Somos Unidos Foundation. Positive outcomes for every New Mexican.
It looks like with Bota, he's just sliding onto the left where Lopez has been from the majority of the game, but Lopez going to be the point of the attack for Miami moving forward.
Here's Bailey, able to connect with Mohammed. Now on to Akale. Rivas getting involved for the first time. Talon Maples, former Houston Dynamo 2-man. He was the captain there over the past couple of seasons. Zico picks out Swartz. Rivas. And Akale sort of lost possession. New Mexico able to win it back almost immediately.
Talk about another addition that's made a huge impact. Tyler Maples. I mean, he was ever present for the longest time, and then maybe become some of the rotation, like I say, trying to ward off any kind of knocks as the season goes on. But unbelievable. Just a rock at the back. And so strong and can cover ground, good in the air, great with the ball at his feet as well. Been a great addition to the team.
Here's Swartz. Hurst can't shake his defender free. Hurst has that ball headed away. Falls to Bota and Mohammed. We're going to see Joe Flores pick them back up to retake the kick anyway. 63 minutes gone by here at the lab. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the CBS Sports Golazo Network. Tyler Ortega here alongside Chris Hurst as top of the West, New Mexico taking on Miami FC here this evening. And if you were been watching this match, you would not think these are the first and last place teams in their respective conferences.
Again, all first half, it was all about Miami's discipline on the defensive side of the ball. So compact, front to back, side to side, just no real space for New Mexico United to play. Second half, Miami have had a little bit more of a go. They've moved Lopez central now, and he's a handful for the two centre-backs, occupying both Herbert and Maples, and they'll know by the end of this game that they've been in a game as well, but yeah, it's been an interesting conundrum for the New Mexico United staff, and had to bring on a couple of subs in midfield because it's been, again, just a chippy game.
You mentioned Frank Lopez. We've already talked about his 7 goals. Spent last year with RGV. Scored 13 goals, 6 assists in 25 appearances. Here's Akale now. Akale looking for Swartz. And Ndie comes out in a collision between Swartz and Ndie. So no ill intent there. Just two guys going for the ball.
Yeah, I think that was just two very committed players there. I'm sure Harry Swartz was expecting to take a whack there as well, as was Ndie. You see a lovely little through ball and a little touch in the build-up from Hurst where he just nicks the ball away from Palacios, and that keeps the attack going. And there, Coelho, a searching ball, just gets a little bit too much on it. But the reason why is because, again, those gaps are so tight. Again, Miami are so compact. So, wow, the New Mexico United players are having to overhit those passes to, as you said in the first half, thread the needle. And that's why keeper's able to just collect that one.
Long ball looking for Lopez. Does well to control it. Thought about having a pop from well outside the 18, and Tony Herbert able to block the shot. Gavilanes with a heavy touch, and that's going to allow Tambakis to come out and grab that one. Hasn't had a ton to do tonight, Tambakis, but have been a couple of plays where he's had to come out and grab a ball.
Yeah, and that's, in games like this, it's really hard to be a goalkeeper because you're going to have to do maybe half a dozen things, and you're going to have to do them really, really well. And then there's large swathes of the game where you're just not involved in it, essentially, so finding ways to stay involved. And obviously Tambakis isn't shy about being vocal, so I'm sure the Maples and Herbert will have a little earache, and that'll just be a way of Tambakis trying to stay in the game.
Rivas was looking for Mohammed. Here's Reyes now. Comes back to Reyes. Rivas can't quite connect with Greg Hurst. Here's Akale. Able to wiggle free. Akale just runs into a wall there, and Joey Desart.
I'm actually surprised the referee didn't give the signal for play on. Akale basically had someone hanging off his shoulder getting a piggyback ride at one point there, and that turn of pace, we've talked about it in previous games as well. These first 2, 3, 4 yards, once he skips past the tackle, so quick, and he was so hard to defend as well because his feet are so fast. Side to side can make defenders look really, really silly.
Reyes draws the foul there. That's the substitute. Manuel Bota called for the foul, and we're going to see a substitution here for Miami. It's Luisinho on to replace Gavilanes. Luisinho, 21-year-old. This is a Fiesta Auto free kick for the home side. Bailey finds Reyes. Rivas trying to lay it off for Akale there. Now looking to break here. Our Miami, that attack quickly extinguished by Talon Maples.
Yeah, and he had to intercept it then. Rivas, great reaction, gets, just puts him off, but the movement by Lopez, really enjoying watching him and his movement off the ball. Just peels off Maples' shoulder there, and if Maples hadn't got the flight of the ball correct there, he was off to the races.
Tony Herbert. Abdi Mohammed, the Somalia international. He's got a couple of caps for his country. Maples had to get on his horse there. Luisinho eventually turns it over. A turn there from Zico Bailey, drawing some ooze from the crowd. Hearing that we might be seeing Nicky Hernandez making his way into this match here momentarily. 70 minutes gone by here at the lab on Celebración de Nuevo Mexico night. And it is New Mexico United on top of Miami FC 1-0. Your goal scorer, Jacobo Reyes, in the 45th minute, finding the back of the net for his third consecutive home match. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the CBS Sports Golazo Network. Tyler Ortega here alongside Chris Hurst. On hand here in Albuquerque on a gorgeous night as Akale unleashes one with the left foot. No trouble there for Ndie.
I think the changes for New Mexico United have had a good impact. Rivas and Zico Bailey in the middle of the park just maybe up the tempo a little bit, a little quicker passing, a little more intricate with the passing. But I also feel 70th minute, Miami are really starting to feel the pace of this game now, and a few more gaps are starting to open up.
And that was something that we touched on a little bit in that first half. The altitude that we're at here in Albuquerque as New Mexico looking for a second here. We're just under 100 feet below 1 mile in elevation where we sit right here at the lab. And that begins to wear on you over a couple of hours.
It does. I remember when I first moved here, and I was obviously in better shape than I am now, but just walking up the stairs trying to work out what was going on because I had no idea about the altitude, and it really does get to you. And I'm sure Miami flew in yesterday, so wouldn't have had any kind of time to acclimatize either.
Here's Luisinho. Luisinho making his 16th appearance here tonight as Swartz goes down. Play continues. Here's Harry Swartz. Still Swartz. Cuts it across. Quelle now. Ball still bouncing around. Still Akale. Back for Reyes. And he just sends it wide. And that is likely going to be the final touch of the evening from Jacobo Reyes, as we now see Nicky Hernandez on to replace the goal scorer.
There's a lot to unpack there. I think Harry Swartz getting fouled in the build-up. It looks like he's just feeling the pace of the game a little bit as well, trying to stretch out his calf there. And yeah, you think he's going to hit the shot, just gets the cross a little bit wrong. The touch by Desarts puts it into Quelle's path. He thinks about the shot, lays it out to Reyes. Reyes does the right thing inside of his foot, tries to place it, just gets the connection wrong. But I was about to say a couple of minutes ago that Reyes has struggled on that right-hand side the last few minutes. You can see his legs have maybe gone a little bit. He's put a bunch of miles in tonight, and he was getting, the crosses were getting blocked by the first man over and over again. So it's another great change. And now Quelle will move from his central position out wide with Nicky Hernandez joining Rivas and Zico Bailey in the middle of the park.
We move into the 74th minute here at the Lab. New Mexico searching for a second, an insurance goal as Luisinho looking for the back post here. As that's cleared out, Bota was close. Here's Molina now. Molina puts two defenders on the ground, able to get the cross in, and Lopez flagged for offside.
I think Harry Swartz's race might be run here. He's just pulled up again there. He's really struggling with his calf muscle there. It looks like his right leg, where hope it's just a little bit of cramp. Obviously, the wide players on both teams have got through a bunch of work, especially second half for Miami. Wide players of Molina and Matrino just obviously covering so much more ground, where they've had the shackles released off them basically in the second half. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the next substitute we see from New Mexico United.
And this is sort of the version of Miami that we saw last match against Monterey Bay, with Mitrano and Molina playing more in the midfield, more as attackers. You can see they're looking to steal a point here on the road tonight, which would be just their second point that they've taken on the road all season long, if they're able to do so. Coming into tonight, 11 matches away from Pitbull Stadium, 10 losses, 1 draw.
Yeah, it's not been a fun season on the road for Miami, but they've potentially come across a recipe. Like, even if tonight doesn't go where they are able to sneak a point in the last 15-20 minutes here, they found a recipe to be competitive. Too many of their games this season have just been blowouts. Well, Memphis being able to stick 5 past them is an example, in the last month here. So being able to stay competitive and stay in games, you've always got a chance when you've got a forward like Lopez who can sneak you a goal.
Fans, tonight's match attendance brought to you by New Mexico Mutual.
As the official attendance figure is in 9,069 here in attendance at the Lab tonight, as New Mexico United, their fans showing out here in the land of enchantment, as they so regularly do. As the black and yellow spent some time atop the attendance chart. I think they've slipped down now to 3, maybe 4 at this point, but still the black and yellow faithful, they like to show up. Backus will scoop that up. That's going to give us time to let you know that if you can't watch the match, you can turn on SiriusXM FC 157. That's America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access. That takes place Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Plus, you can also hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on SiriusXM FC 157 and the new SiriusXM app. There's Bota. Desart turns this one over. Desart, he actually just joined Miami FC just this past month. He's making just his 6th appearance here this evening for the club, having spent most of this season with Tampa Bay Rowdies. Only made 4 appearances down in Tampa. Great touch there from Zico Bailey. Here's the substitute, Nicky Hernandez. As Knutson plays this one out and concedes the corner.
And you can see those are the kind of moments that have ended up with Miami where they are in the league right now. An unforced error there by Knutson trying to just play the ball back and just gets it completely wrong. But a positive ball by Nicky Hernandez, looking to get on the front foot immediately as well. So New Mexico United still, they're in that rock and hard place right now. Do they push for the second, or do they just try and stick on what they've got right now?
Well, I think if you ask Eric Quill, he's going to tell you they're going to look for a second and probably a third here. As this Topo Chico hard seltzer corner kick goes in, and some contact there between Hurst and I believe that's Palacios again. Palacios, let's just say he's not going to leave New Mexico with any new friends after this one. He has been involved in some physical play all evening long. Here's Lopez now, as Maples and Tambakis both up to the task, but conceding the corner.
And that was Chris Gloucester just a little bit careless on the ball there, and Lopez seized on the chance, and Tambakis wasn't 100% sure on his angles there. I think it was going wide, but he took no chances.
Luisinho takes this one quickly. The cross from Molina falls, and Tambakis has to parry that away. Well done by Hernandez, as he wins the throw in there, but Tambakis, that was a little suspect there for a second.
See, he thinks Maples gets just the slightest of touches on it. Love to see Tambakis just calling Maples off that then, but Maples there, so it's almost like he's trying to head it over the bar, but gets such a slight touch on it, makes it far more difficult on Tambakis, and almost coughs up a chance very similar to the one that New Mexico United took in the first half, where the ball was parried back just outside the 6-yard box. No one home for Miami to put it home though.
And Miami, that's actually how they scored their one goal last week against Monterey Bay. It was off a corner kick that was parried by Siaha. Took a couple of deflections, and then finally Lopez able to knock it in.
I mean, what a vicious ball in that was, though. It had so much pace and it was so flat. Doesn't give defenders a chance to kind of get their feet under them and get the flight of the ball. It's on them before they have a chance to do that. And yet Maples just skims it off his head, and it causes all kinds of issues.
Knutson gets it back from Cabral. Herbert with some defensive work as Hernandez clears it away. And we might be seeing a couple more substitutions coming up here momentarily for New Mexico. Here's Molina. Third minute here. It's Miami enjoying a spell of possession. It's a little bit of unfamiliar territory for them here this evening, as they've spent most of their time sat back with 8-9 men behind the ball.
Yeah, defending the width of the 18-yard box, but there was an uncomfortable moment there. There was some calls for handball from a good chunk of the Miami players when the ball struck Maples there. It was an awkward clearance he did, so yeah, it's a little uncomfortable for New Mexico United right now, and Miami's starting to ask some questions.
Maples with the interception there was looking to play Greg Hurst forward. Big defensive play there from Palacios, but Miami still on top of it. As Bota gets it right back. Here's Hernandez, the substitute. Cabral went down. Long ball looking for Hurst. Zendie out of his box, able to play it forward to Luisinho. Now Miami looking to get some numbers forward. That through ball just out of reach there of Lopez.
Yeah, I get the feeling this game's just a little too open for New Mexico United's liking there. That ball was just asking for another collision. I held my breath. I'm sure I wasn't the only one, with Hurst going through on Zendie. And then straight back down the other end, it's turned into a track meet.
Here's Rivas. Sergio Rivas, local Albuquerque product. He just crossed the century mark in terms of league appearances for his hometown club, making his 102nd league appearance here tonight. What a momentous occasion for the local Albuquerque kid. It's something that every kid dreams of, being able to play for the hometown club, and Rivas living out his dream.
Yeah, a couple of academy kids on the bench as well, with Jay Seiss. We've mentioned him in previous games, but Derek Lozano, if my memory serves me right, from club soccer when he played in town, I believe he's from Santa Fe.
Yep.
So not local Albuquerque, but local New Mexican. But a great experience for him being pulled up to the first team as well.
Yeah, Derek Lozano was actually announced yesterday that he signed an academy contract, which makes him eligible for the first team as well. He's included in the matchday squad today. He's on the bench. The teenager out of Santa Fe. It's actually the 12th academy contract signed in club history. And this wouldn't be the first time we've seen Lozano get some playing time with the first team, Chris. We actually saw him in the international friendly against FC Juarez. He drew a penalty in the second half against FC Juarez. So a couple of substitutions here for New Mexico. It's Avion Flanagan and Abu Danladi, as Greg Hurst and Harry Swartz will head off. For Abu Danladi, making just his third appearance here this evening. Before joining New Mexico United, played for KF Bailis in the Albanian second division. Scored 1 goal in 10 appearances. Prior to that, had a good few years in MLS, namely with Minnesota United. He was the first overall pick by the Loons in 2017. He scored his first goal in the MLS against Sporting Kansas City. Turnover here. That ball just behind Bota. That was the substitute, Sebastian Joseph, making that run. '88th minute. This ball just bouncing around, eventually foul called. It's going to go against Joseph. That's going to give us time to let you know that the USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. You can catch live matches and expert analysis every day right here on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and on ESPN+. Plus, go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. So Chris, New Mexico with some work to do to see this one out. So I'm sure it's been a little bit closer than they might have anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, again, you never overlook an opponent, but on paper, if this was a game of top trumps, it would have been all over. But Miami have found a way, like they did last week against Monterrey. They've found a way to stay in the game. Last week they managed to pick up a win. They're looking to get back here and pick up a point. And right now, it is all Miami asking the questions and some careless moments by New Mexico United, just making it a little more uncomfortable when they're trying to see this game out. That was
Tony Herbert called for the foul there on Lopez. Lopez putting in a shift here tonight. He has been all over, and almost anything that's good that's happened tonight for Miami has been by way of Lopez. Is Luisinho now will stand over this free kick. This is in a dangerous area here.
Dangerous area, and New Mexico United's backline's really deep right now as well.
Luisinho plays this top of the box. Shot attempt blocked by Flanagan, the substitute. Avion Flanagan played 70 minutes on the weekend at Oakland. Picked up a yellow card in the 44th minute. Did create a couple of chances. Danladi giving chase. Danladi out of Takarati, Ghana. Here's Molina now. Molina looking back post. Mohamed is there. Another header from Hernandez and ultimately cleared by Sergio Rivas. And with that, we're into New Mexico Pinon Coffee stoppage time. 4 minutes added on. Great coffee since '94 as Maples heads this one away. Flanagan does well to keep that one in.
Coach Quill going absolutely nuts on the sideline. New Mexico United just sitting deeper and deeper and deeper, just inviting more pressure, trying to get them pushed up.
Maples with the header, and Tambakis able to claim that one. Alex Tambakis, the all-time leader in saves in the USL Championship, coming into tonight 596. Six clean sheets on the season for Tambakis. As Zico Bailey off to the races now. Bailey looking to connect with Akale. Crosses it. What a save from Ndie! Absolutely massive from the keeper to keep this a one-goal game. That surely would have been the nail in the coffin.
I'm still not sure how he did it. Ndie, he's such a big guy, and he was going completely the other direction.
Here's Lopez now. Shot attempt blocked by Maples. Falls back to Lopez. Maples not giving him an inch. Sakale battling. Here's Lopez again. And Tambakis able to make the save.
Going back to that save. And DA going to his right and manages to just throw his left hand where he gets it down to the ground from, what is he, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". Looks huge from up here. And somehow saves it, just waiting for the net to bulge or ripple there, but wasn't to be. And then Miami straight up the other end, and Tambakis called into action finally.
Kadima Ndiaye listed at 6'7". And so yeah, you were
I was getting
right
closer.
on there.
I didn't quite get there. I was getting closer.
And Ndiaye, 22-year-old. He spent some time over in Italy. Was with Atalanta during their 2019-2020 Serie A campaign. Here's Flanagan. Flanagan making his 20th appearance here this evening. He's going to head to that corner flag and just look to kill off some precious time, as we've got about 30 seconds of the allotted 4 minutes remaining. Tambakis sends this one away. It's time running out here for Miami. And that is the full-time whistle here at the Lab. New Mexico victorious here by a score of 1-0. Jacobo Reyes, the difference maker in the 45th minute. Chris, your thoughts here on tonight's match?
Anything but straightforward for New Mexico United. Had to work so hard, and you can see by the reaction of the New Mexico United players, it's not just the Miami players dead on their feet. New Mexico United absolutely exhausted. Really, really interesting game tonight.
That is a look at our play of the match there, brought to you by Varo Winery and Distillery. It was Jacobo Reyes' goal in the 45th minute. As you mentioned, his third straight home match with a goal, his second season with New Mexico United. And Talon Maples here is going to be honored as your man of the match, brought to you by Pepsi, as Maples was absolutely stellar back there tonight dealing with Lopez.
Yeah, I mean, he had his hand full. Lopez was all over the place tonight. Really impressed with him, and Maples, for the most part, kept him quiet.
Talon Maples and Alex Tambakis. Who else getting the save of the match, brought to you by the Aging and Long-Term Services of New Mexico, as he's in his fourth season in black and yellow and standing alone atop the USL Championship saves mountain as he bags his 7th clean sheet here tonight. We'll go ahead and take a break. It's New Mexico victorious over Miami FC 1-0.
Tonight's Pepsi Man of the Match is number 12, Talon Maples.
El jugador Pepsi del partido de esta noche es camiseta número 12, Talon Maples.
Familia, 2025 season tickets are on sale now. Lock in your seat for all 17 home games and enjoy other exclusive benefits like priority access to home playoff tickets. Log on to SeatGeek or contact the ticketing team today.
Went on three, 1, 2, 3, yeah. I said the guy, he told me moving. I'm at the show and they tell me keep grooving. If it ain't me, tell me who else gon' do it. I'ma just do it. I'ma just do it. I'm at the top of my city, I'm tooling. Bitch said that I be the hottest improving. Every day I see the fruits of improvement. I'ma just do it. I'ma just do it.
Tickets are limited and available at NewMexicoUTD.com/tickets. Fans, please get home safely and Somos Unidos!
With more ways to win, whatever game you play, Sandia Resort Casino. Now more than ever. Close to home, far from ordinary.
Welcome back here to the lab. Full time in the battle between the 305 and the 505. New Mexico victorious here on top 1-0 as the players will celebrate with the fans, as this has become customary following wins here at the lab. Let's go ahead and take a look at our full-time highlights here and see how this one played out, brought to you by the guys at Ferguson and Associates. And Chris, it was a lot of New Mexico in that first half.
Yeah, for a lot of the game, a lot. And again, the discipline of Miami defensively led to shots like that from Nanan Hosu there. And this was maybe the one and only chance in the first half for Miami FC, but they had a lot more chances in the second half, that's for sure.
This was a ball searching there for Greg Hurst, as his scoreless streak here at the lab now reaches 9 matches. So he is still the leading scorer here for the black and yellow. Now, tremendous save from Ndie, but unfortunately there for him, Jacobo Reyes there to smash home the rebound.
Yeah, and, I don't know if Greg Hurst will get an assist there, but puts the ball in the corner and it with enough power where it just can't be handled. And Reyes, a guy on form right now, a player on form, and that's another really, really crucial goal for New Mexico United. And second half, that was a speculative shot from Quellet, and this is where Tyler Maples just gets a little nick on that ball, and this is the save. This is the save of the game that kept it nervy at the end. He's going to his right, and Ndie going to his right and throws down to the spare and left hand and keeps it out, and straight up the other end, Miami, this is the attack that Miami have. So what a huge turning point that could have been, but New Mexico United managed to hold on.
A look at our full-time stats here after 90 minutes, and it looks a little similar to how it did at the half. New Mexico with the big edge in shots on target, and the possession number largely unchanged.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of good things with the ball, but again, Miami, I think they found a recipe for staying in games. So many of their games this season have been lopsided, and now this is 2 games in a row where they've managed to stay in it, and they made things very, very uncomfortable for a team that's very good at home.
And so up next for Miami, they're headed back down to the 305. They're going to be hosting Hartford a week from tomorrow. And for New Mexico, we touched on the matchups that they have coming up with Sac Republic. But before that, it is a trip up to Keyworth to take on Le Rouge next Saturday. We'll say goodbye here tonight. Thanks for joining us here on the CBS Sports Golazo Network. For our director, Gary Williams, for Chris Hurst on color, my name's Tyler Ortega. Thank you for watching.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.